You look beautiful today.
Oh, thank
I love
you.
your dress. I love your presence. And I'm grateful for you in my life, especially in this moment.
I'm so grateful for you too. Greetings and welcome to Ill Repute, the podcast about women and women first. I'm Sovereign Syre, a comedian, writer, and, someone that has also been written about in Playboy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty radical.
Yeah, it was called The Intellectual Pornographer, and it was a huge write-up.
I'm Ela Darling, a former librarian, a VR pioneer, an adult film performer, and the current occupant of an apartment that looks like the shadiest back room of a swap meet vomited on an estate sale because I'm moving in literally 3 weeks from today.
Congratulations.
We here at Ill Repute support women's rights, but more importantly,
We support women's wrongs.
goddamn right. Now it's Savi, my love. Which women's wrongs are we righting today?
Well, one Miss Anna Nicole Smith, because they decided that name sounded more classy than Vicky.
Then Vicky Land Smith?
Yeah.
Vicky Land Hogan? Vicky Land from Mahia? From up in Mahia? You mean our girl from up in Mahia?
From Mahia,
Now, if-
Texas.
Mahia, Texas, to the heart of every mind and soul in this good country. Now, I would like to start this episode with a trigger warning. This one, it can be tough. We've got mentions of sexual abuse, some implied uncertain potential incestuous stuff that was not great, some very things about women's bodies, which, a spoiler alert, is every day for women, drug use, drug overdose, and death.
So in part one, we discussed her birth, her first marriage, her first child, and her entree into Playboy, Guess, and her relationship with J. Howard Marshall, who was a 90-year-old billionaire guy. Also,
Yes.
we kind of dabbled into her lesbian relationship with her friend Missy when she was coming up as a stripper in Houston before she made the leap onto the glossy pages of Playboy magazine. So go back and listen to that one if you haven't.
Mhm.
In the flash of the paparazzi's cameras, Anna had gone from stripper to Playmate of the Year to the face of Guess Jeans, a contract rumored to have been worth millions of dollars. Anna's beauty, sex appeal, and supernatural charm had carried her to the edge of the finish line. All she had to do was cross it. It was 1993. She was starring in movies, Hudsucker Proxy and Naked Gun, 33 1/3. Her campaign for Guess Jeans was a hit, and Playboy magazine was throwing a massive gala in her honor where she would be named Playmate of the Year.
All of her dreams were coming true. There was only one delicate, soft, tender childhood dream left. She wanted to reconnect with her biological father, Donald R. Hart. In the Netflix documentary, You Don't Know Me, her best friend Missy says she had built this vision in her head of this man, and she knew he just had to be out there looking for her like she was looking for him, which is probably very common amongst children of estranged parents. Anna hired a private investigator to locate her birth father and reached out, hoping, finally, to find that part of her that was missing all these years. She made contact and made the arrangements for her father and her half-brother, Don Jr., to fly to Los Angeles and attend the Playmate of the Year gala.
I think that must have been pretty crazy to invite a father to like a Playmate of the Year gala. So, at the Playmate of the Year party, Anna was given a $100,000 check, a champagne-colored Jaguar, and named as Playmate of the Year. She wanted her father and brother to marvel and feel that they were part of her success. They are present in many photos of the event, embracing Anna, speaking candidly with Hugh Hefner, looking on in teary-eyed admiration when she goes up to the podium to accept her gifts. And then, mysteriously and ominously, they seem to both disappear from Anna's life forever. And so we have a clip of Anna's Playmate of the Year party. Let's watch it.
All right. That hair is so big.
She has the awkward walk of a tall girl.
She's like 5'11".
Introduce
Aww.
Anna Nicole Smith, our 1993 Playmate of the Year, a very special lady of which we are very, very appropriately proud. Anna? Well, first of all,
That's so
we have a little
nice.
check here for
I love this for her
$100,000.
so much. She is Marilyn Monroeing so hard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is that her awkward brother in the front seat? There's some like thumb
Yeah.
of a man wearing a hoodie who looks under 21.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine that's her darling estranged brother. I love this for her. I love, like, this is such a huge accolade.
Yeah.
This is, I think, what people imagine when they think about porn stars. Maybe not today, but certainly since I started my career, people think that this is
What it's like.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, like free convertibles, $100,000 checks, like
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
galas.
this is what we talked about in the episode about Hustlers, is like, because there are a lot of performers that front like that on social media, you know? So,
Yeah.
But here's like, I brought this up when we were doing the rehearsal, but, you know, in looking at this moment, my other question is like how, like whether or not J. Howard Marshall, because she had told him she wouldn't marry him until she had made a name for herself, if he in fact was the one responsible for her getting Playmate of the Year and getting the guest campaign, because the amount of money that he had and power that he would have had to make these things happen for her is a lot.
Especially, okay, Playmate of the Year, that's a pretty front and center, like big deal. But also I could see if she even was getting, if she got a meeting with Playboy and he heard about it, which he would have, I could see him maybe pulling a few strings to make sure that it went well for her. Well, during that trip, during the time spent together, attempting to connect and make up for all the years lost, something happened between Anna and her father. Her best friend and lover, Missy, says that Anna confessed that her father, quote, tried to have sex with her, quote. Whether this means full-on sexual assault or harassment or just a proposition, Anna never spoke to or about her father ever again.
Her half-brother, Donnie Jr., in a later interview explained that Donald Sr. had bragged to him about raping his first wife's little sister when she was a child. Hart had also threatened violence and murder against his son early in his life, which he took as a credible threat. He had wanted to warn Anna, but there was just never an opportunity. He later confessed regretfully, quote, he was a monster.
It's not difficult to speculate that the loss and disillusionment she felt from her father, this time through his own horrific behavior, broke her in a fundamental way. Looking through all the video footage, interviews, and photos of her life afterwards, her light just seems a little bit dimmer. She seems further away. Anna would never again display that same childlike exuberance she had when she'd first been discovered.
The joy and novelty she'd once gotten from all the partying, sex, attention, and shopping seemed to give way to something darker, something detached, something bitter. Those closest to her saw that she was spiraling and felt helpless. Anna, having spent most of her life fighting against the feeling of being controlled, wouldn't hear it.
When Missy voiced concerns about Anna's behavior towards herself and others, they had a blowout fight, severing their relationship, which would never be recovered. Missy and other friends close to Anna during this time described her as chaotic, dark, bitter, and ungrateful to those who'd supported her to this point, especially J. Howard Marshall. In the Texas probate trial after his death, it's reported that J. Howard was sending her from $5,000 to $10,000 a week, which she would spend constantly.
I think adjusted for inflation, that'd be like probably double that. So probably 10 to 20K a week.
Money.
He's essentially giving her about $1 million a year in today's money. Like if you round it out, that's about $1 million a year as like an allowance.
Well, look, sometimes you're at the store and you really want to get a soda from the machine, And they don't take credit cards. You just got to have them walking around cash.
Yeah. So you just turn around and buy a Basquiat, and then take out back, set it on fire in the middle of summer. Just,
just casual.
Yeah. Casually. Kelly Moore, Anna's lawyer at the time of her marriage, said, quote, "They were extraordinary people that other people were always trying to take pieces of. And Anna and Howard were protection for each other. They got each other," unquote.
After discovering the true nature of who her biological father was and securing her contract with Guess Jeans, Anna, perhaps, started to feel that she was now her own person. And also maybe began to realize that J. Howard Marshall would be the closest she would ever come to having a father figure. Quote, "Everybody wants to look up to somebody," unquote, says her brother, Don Jr., in reference to Anna's search for a father figure.
I mean, aren't we all? I have two dads, and I would still love to find a father. I just, like the idealized.
I just collect dads. I have my Comic-Con dad. I have my porno dad. And I had my real, authentic biological dad, who was such a good dad.
Anna and J. Howard Marshall got married at a drive-through chapel in Houston, Texas, in June of 1994. He continued to lavish her with money and gifts, and she gave him all the love she was capable of. His sons were furious and very much disapproved of the union, which created even more strife between Howard and his sons.
There was an incident where J. Howard attempted to purchase a set of jewelry that cost over $1 million, I believe. There's a lot of zeros, for Anna as a gift. Soon after, Pierce, J. Howard Marshall's son, contacted Anna directly and told her to return it because he was the executor of Howard's trust and he refused to release the funds for the purchase. This is how Howard learned that he was no longer the conservator of his own estate. The lifelong strife and resentment built between him and his sons was now coming to bear on the end of his life. Which, can you imagine how uncomfortably humiliating that must be in his position, where he feels probably like the only thing he brings to his relationship is his money and gifts, and to suddenly feel like emasculated in a way that he probably hasn't been able to feel emasculated in some time.
That lets you know what the family's like if they've snuck in and basically got him to unknowingly sign over the power of attorney. Anna and Howard attempted to have a child, but Howard was too frail by this point in his life. From the accounts of Anna's friends, they enjoyed their time together as best they could. Anna did everything she could to make Howard happy. The marriage lasted 14 months before J. Howard succumbed to pneumonia, eventually passing in October of 1995. Shortly after the death of J. Howard Marshall, Anna filed a claim in Texas probate court to half of the Marshall estate assets. The public was riveted by the ensuing news coverage. And I can tell you this, it wasn't what it was the wedding photo.
There she is. Is this the one you're talking about where she's got her big old titties just boosted all the way up? Some crazy how, because that is a very high cut wedding dress for that much cleavage. Gigantic, poofy, fairy tale sleeves straight out of the neck. That's unfortunate. He is not looking healthy and his skin looks very unwell. He looks like Madame Tussauds designed.
This one too. Very nice. Very nice. So the images that came out were always kind of juxtaposing her over-sexual body next to a man that looked super frail. Every photo of him made it look like he was a living corpse. It made the wedding look like a Weekend at Bernie's type situation. That's kind of what everyone was alluding to. And the choice of the photos, but the one of her and him kissing with her hair in the high ponytail, it's that was the one where it's just everywhere. It was just kind of then the thing was how could she possibly love this guy? Because look at him, right? Media in the 90s and early 2000s was not kind. It was pretty bad. So these photos just like went viral as things would go viral in the 90s, right? Which is like we were just getting online. Like blogs were just kind of starting to be a thing.
Both sides made pretty horrific allegations. Pierce Marshall alleged through witness testimony from Jay Howard's nurses and caretakers that Anna would often neglect Howard during their visits, that she drugged him with Valium and took advantage of his compromised state several times, including the day they married, demanded cash constantly, and the most grievous claim that Anna left him in the rain on one of their visits, which created the conditions in which Jay Howard contracted the pneumonia that he ultimately succumbed to. This shocked me to learn.
Well, so
And I don't know that it's true, but still.
This is according to the brothers and the caretakers, but we're talking about billionaires.
Yeah.
And so it is not like it's hard to pay a nurse $500,000 to say whatever you want her to say.
You're absolutely right.
So keep that in mind. And keep in mind, these are people that already surreptitiously got essentially power of attorney from him while he was alive and well.
My reaction is exactly what they're hoping anybody hearing that news will feel.
And to explain it, so according to them and their filing, what had happened is he had like bought her a house in Houston, and she would be like, yeah, I'm going to be in Houston on this day, like come out. So then he would like go to the house and she would never show up. Or she would be like, come out to LA, I'm doing XYZ. He would get there and then she would just like disappear. These were their accusations. Or that she would dose him up on Valium and then use his card to like charge a bunch of stuff. These were the charges they were making. And the ultimate one was that apparently during Christmas, she asked him to come out to LA. So he came out to LA to her house, and there was like a torrential downpour in LA on Christmas. And he like sat outside on the porch like all day and into the night waiting for her to arrive. And she never did. And then a few days later, he came down with pneumonia and passed away.
All right. Well, that's like saying he died of heartache. He's not like a puppy chained up to a tree in a snowstorm. He's a grown man and is very infantilizing.
It's definitely very poetic, and like I said, these are billionaires fighting.
It's a beautiful narrative.
They can pay anyone to say anything they want them to say.
Yeah. Right.
And especially if it's these sons that are in the corporate world and know how to be cutthroat. And she's in her mid-20s. And yes, she's learned some hustle from stripping, but it is not the same as being in like a boardroom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with people that are probably pretty used to using these kinds of tactics in a business acquisition. Right.
Yes.
And so she might not have known to bribe those caretakers to.
She was so out of her league here. She was so out of her league.
She was, as they say at the end of No Country for Old Men, I feel overmatched.
Exactly.
So Anna Nicole Smith alleged that Pierce was the one who had taken advantage of his father's trust and vulnerability, and that Pierce was the one who manipulated documents and the finances to take the family fortune for himself. And the most outrageous, that Pierce had orchestrated the death of Jay Howard's previous mistress, Lady Walker, and had made attempts to kill Anna as well. When Anna was called to testify, she brought the wedding photo of Jay Howard and her up to the stand and spoke to it.
Rusty Hardin, the lawyer for Pierce Marshall, was concerned. People seemed to love Anna. Women, in general, really seemed to connect with her charm and her energy. Pierce Marshall seemed to be savaging this poor widow, and to a jury that consisted of 90% women, depriving her of her entitled share of the inheritance. After familiarizing himself with Anna Nicole Smith's public persona, Harding developed an interesting strategy. He would bait Anna into talking about her life as a model and actress living in Hollywood. He read her, accurately, as someone incapable of controlling herself, leaving her to explain in her own words what her lifestyle consisted of. Harding believed that a conservative Texas jury, regardless of gender, would not approve. And he was, unfortunately, correct.
So we're going to watch some.
All right, let's
The
watch
High Court is
this.
seldom
This
the
is some Anna
stage
Nicole
for such
Smith on the
steamy
stand,
sagas as
and we're
Tell me
going
when
to
you're
watch
ready.
it.
topless dancer and Playboy Playmate,
I am
who
ready.
at 26 married an 89-year-old. Howard Marshall died a year later, and the fight was on for an estate valued at up to $1.6 billion.
Have you been taking new acting lessons?
Screw you, Rusty.
Some of the most scintillating moments played in a Texas courtroom.
Are you trying to suggest, do you want a nail file or anything?
If you got one.
Where attorney Rusty Hardin represented Marshall's son Pierce and won. When the Texas jury threw out the estate case, Smith made another move to a California bankruptcy court and won millions. That's where the Supreme Court got involved, deciding something far more pedestrian, whether state or federal court has jurisdiction. Today, their decision gives Anna Nicole another chance to pursue fortune.
Noticed at the Supreme Court, she has remade herself in every respect, facially and everything. So I guess if this case stays around just long enough, Anna Nicole, we may see the 6th version of Anna Nicole.
None of this means Anna Nicole Smith actually gets anything.
All the Supreme Court said is that the federal court needs to look at the rest of the arguments of whether or not and his large
Okay, so
committed fraud
what
in
this video
bankruptcy
clip, the
court.
first
The
thing
Texas
that comes
case
to
is
mind
over, but what
after Anna
Justice
Nicole.
Stephen Breyer called
What
quite
this
a
video clip
story
tells me is that
not.
being the courtroom illustrator that draws the people in court where photographs are not allowed must be the easiest job in the world to get, because I have seen so many sexy women in the past month drawn by the worst artists in courtrooms. And
Oh, you
I
know
don't-
who they really roasted? The Sam Bankman-Fried trial.
oh god,
He had a girlfriend,
That
and
poor
they made her.
girl.
They made her look like a sloth.
Yeah, that was
like
so
there was
cruel
there
to
was
her.
a meme. There was a meme going around of like the court drawing of the girlfriend that was like put next to the sloth from like one of the Ice Age movies or something,
Mhm.
and it was just like, man, like wow.
I don't know if these people have never drawn a woman in their life, but it is some of the most offensive things levied against women is the way that they're drawn in court. But I love this video of her, the screw you, Rusty. And he's like being like, oh, do you want a nail file? And she's like, I mean, if you got one. Like,
Yeah.
she's had it up to here and then some with this.
It's also sad because she's kind of buying into what he's trying to do. She's being antagonistic to him, which to the jury is making her look like someone that's a sociopath. Moving on. So at first, the Texas probate court determined that Anna was entitled to nothing, save the $6 million in gifts she had already earned while her husband was alive. Then the California federal bankruptcy court weighed in when Anna declared bankruptcy there.
Anna had been sued by a former nanny for sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. Anna and her lawyers claimed the lawsuit was an extortion attempt. Regardless, Anna failed to appear in court when summoned, and a default judgment was made for the plaintiff. The resulting $2 million award was what prompted Anna to file bankruptcy. The court found that the widow was entitled to $449 million plus $25 million in punitive damages for E. Pierce's alleged acts of fraud in blocking her from her rightful claim to the inheritance.
Then a California district court reduced that amount to a measly $88 million, which is just insulting.
I guess she's going to have to shop at Payless or something. Ew.
She's going to be a poor. The judgment explaining that while Anna wasn't entitled to the Marshall family assets from before the marriage, she was entitled to a share of the investment portfolio profits that occurred during the union, but nevertheless concluded that J. Howard Marshall loved his wife and planned to take care of her, and that his son and slimy lawyers had cooked the documents and fooled the old man as he lay dying.
The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, in turn, reversed that decision, contending that the federal bankruptcy court in California had no business meddling into the affairs of a Texas probate court in the first place. The case was then appealed to the Supreme Court, and while not deciding on the outcome of the case itself, allowed for the case to be tried at the federal level.
In the early 2000s, in the wake of the Osbournes, the Barkers, and the Simpsons MTV shows. And we're talking about the Ashley and Jessica Simpson, not the Simpsons of Matt Groening fame. Celebrity-based reality television was becoming a very successful and relatively new genre. Instead of normal, everyday people, the focus was now on what it was like inside the lives of offbeat rock star celebrities. Anna Nicole Smith's constant presence in tabloids and in the press just seemed like a natural fit for the trashy reputation of the reality TV format.
Premiering in August of 2002, the show launched without much fanfare or expectation. It introduced a zany cast of characters that were involved in Anna's life somehow. Anna, of course, taking center stage, her son Daniel, her lawyer, Howard K. Stern, not that Howard Stern. I made that same mistake. Her assistant, Kim, and her interior decorator, the very flamboyant Bobby Trendy, as well as her toy poodle, Sugar Pie, and a rotating cast of perfectly weird people dying to get a bit of attention, including a long-lost cousin, Shelley, who would apparently steal the show every time she made an appearance. Now, I could not track the show down in time to watch it before we recorded, but
it was pretty great.
It
was pretty great. It was, I made a TikTok about it, but so that show, now keep in mind, we're tracking with the internet, right? So the internet it starts to be considered like a viable platform with Matt Drudge and the Drudge Report in 91 during like the Monica Lewinsky scandal, right? So that had kind of thrust the legitimacy of the internet into a place of like, oh, this is a place where like reportage happens, right?
Right.
And when you're on the internet, you don't have to wait for something to go to a printing press. You can just write it and it exists. This is changing everything. So all these newspapers start trying to get online. Perez Hilton, his blog, that becomes a huge pop culture moment that he's dishing on the celebrities, but he's doing it in real time. He's getting tips in real time, like this kind of thing, right?
Right.
So you have that going on. Then it started changing like how the audience consumed content. You have this like perfect storm of like media coming online, which made everything faster and more spreadable. And we have the birth of memes because things become more memeable.
Mm-hmm.
So at this time, this reality show, you would get a lot of memes where people would take screen grabs with dialogue. So even if you didn't watch the show, if you logged onto social media, Tumblr, blogs, like other stuff, you could see these stills and where they'd have the captioning on.
Right.
And so Anna had so many moments, she would just say that was just really funny. And so she became very memeable because you have this big-titted, chubby blonde, like that lives this kind of opulent life, always seems kind of ditzy, a little out of it. And then she'll say things like, you know, like women fake orgasms, but I'll tell you, like men fake whole relationships. And then they would screen capture that with the captions on and then put that on the internet. And then it was also the time when on Jessica Simpson's show, the thing that became a meme was like
the
Adam
chicken of the sea.
Buffalo wings are so small. Like, how do they fly? This was the time when the meme kind of reigned supreme, right? It's like they would just take these moments in a late night interview or these moments from a reality show. They were still images with just captions on the bottom, and they were highly shareable. And so she became a meme. You know, like anytime she'd open her mouth, that would become a meme. And that there was also at this time a Time magazine cover called White Trash Nation. It was sort of lamenting that in the post-internet worlds, the meme worlds, this new information age, like reality stars that were being held up tended to be like the most uneducated or déclassé amongst us. That's just to put some context around what was happening culturally. Anyway.
Indeed.
The show was criticized for being vapid and 99% fake, but that was sort of the point. Anna especially seemed incredibly aware of what they were doing and who they were doing it for. At several points, Anna seems to display an Andy Kaufman level of comedic self-awareness and ability to defy audience expectations. Had the show been scripted, Anna would have been hailed as a comedic genius. And now we're going to watch a clip from the show, which features Anne wasted at a Christmas party and making out with Margaret. Joe, let us watch.
Soft flex.
Oh my God. On E, which was the place to get reality TV at the time.
Oh God, yeah.
Anna! I finally have some mistletoe.
By midnight, everybody was feeling really loose, so we had to.
Because she was really gay.
She's
Anna
so
Nicole
gay.
was a lesbian.
The queer is just like
Let's
a
be
woman's
real.
lips, a woman's tongue. She's just like yes and anding this. Oh yeah, she's like pulling. They're both equally aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, Margaret Tro's trying to be like over the top about it, and she's being outgunned.
Yeah.
She like collapsed in her arms. Margaret Tro's trying to come in like the super villain of lesbian kisses.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
that's
she's
that.
like she's trying to be so hard ass about it. She does not realize
that's
what
what
she's dealing with.
So Ella, that's what the show was. It was awesome. It was awesome. I went to go visit my brother in Seattle. He was living with the roommate, and he's like, "You got to watch the Anna Nicole Smith show." And I was like, "I don't watch reality TV. I think all that's garbage. Like, I do not care." And he's like, "You have to watch." And then he put it on, and I think I just sat there for 12 hours straight, just like, because he had like the box, like VHS tapes, like.
I'm so jealous.
And I was just
tried
like
so hard.
riveted. I could not look away. It was so good. Like reality TV wishes that they could have her now. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like it was,
Oh yeah.
you know, and that was part of her charm. Is like she just didn't give a
She was just
like she
so
did not care.
sincere. Exactly. She had nothing to lose. What could you take from her that you haven't already like stolen from her in terms of dignity and kindness? Like at that point, she's just having fun with it. And she knows what you're saying. And she just revels in the response. And I love that. I love that because it was very subtle. And I think most people didn't really note that at the time. They didn't have enough sense of her to get that she was laughing right the back at them. Anna's weight had steadily gone up over the past decade, and the press never let her forget it for a second. Finally, after a particularly brutal appearance on the Howard Stern show, which we'll watch shortly, it got pretty bad. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
You put yourself out there. You're doing the
So
show. Of course,
hard.
people are going to comment on your life. And I said, and I'll repeat what I said earlier, that the way you dress and stuff, I don't think you're aware that you're a heavy-set woman. That's what I said.
I know I'm a big woman, so
Yeah.
what?
So I was guessing your weight. And I was going to say to you today, can you please get on the scale, and then we'll have an over-under. That's all.
No.
Why not? Why not?
I'm not going to get on a scale if you got to weigh
God,
me.
this guy
If you get on the
sucks
scale-
so hard.
I'm serious.
Why would you want me to get on the
I'll tell you
scale
why.
so you could humiliate me?
No, that's not humiliating. I think you should be proud of what you weigh.
I don't think any woman really wants to get on the scale and broadcast it to.
Why are women, when Anna Nicole is so liberated, why is Anna Nicole embarrassed to say how much she weighs?
Ew.
Because I'm not going to do that. All I'm going to hear is pop jokes from you.
What?
All I hear is more jokes and more slander. and
No, not slander.
things from you.
I'm not going to
I get
slander
on
you.
a stupid
I want to
weighing
prove.
machine.
I will put $1,000 in your college
What a
for your
prize.
college fund for your child.
What a prize offering.
Not enough.
I'll add another $2,000 courtesy of i1.com, and
Boy, the money's really flying around
so
here.
it's $3,000 for her son's college fund, and I will throw in for her son because I know he likes the game. I'll throw in an Xbox.
All right,
Gotta
for
bring
your
it back.
son.
Not enough.
If we weigh you now, I'll give you $3,000
Thank
courtesy
you,
of
Benji.
i1.com and
Trim Spa.
Trim Spa,
No.
plus an Xbox for your son.
Nope, not enough.
He already has an Xbox.
He does.
We can sell this one.
He could have it, do whatever he wants, sell it on eBay.
Put another room.
That's right. Have two Xbox.
Yeah.
All right, let's stop. That's
Wow,
enough. I
wow.
don't need to see more. Yeah.
No, that look, Look, just about every part of that was worse than I even anticipated. Anna decided to do something about it. Over the next year, she lost 69 pounds, which she attributed to Trim Spa, a diet supplement with a checkered past that she also went on to become the spokesperson of. With a newfound confidence and diehard fans in from her show in the LGBT community, which she is a queer icon, we love her. It seemed Anna was recouping and finding some of that exuberance that she had been so famous for a decade earlier.
She was back on the paparazzi scene, making appearances with celebrity friends, and she seemed brighter, happier, and just as wild, except she was no longer in her 20s. She was now in her mid-30s, and with the tabloids, she just couldn't win. The wild partying and apparent public intoxication with zero shame was painted as pathetic and making it difficult for her to beat the walking train wreck allegations.
This all came to a head in her 2003 appearance on the American Music Awards, where she was to present the award of Best New Artist to a quite young Kanye West, who prophetically would go on to suffer his own very public meltdowns that the tabloids would exploit and criticize. A visibly intoxicated Smith stumbles to the podium, screaming and smiling, slurring her speech. She enthusiastically proclaims Yeezy's genius as a music producer and then name drops Trim Spa before being escorted off stage and out of the building, which is, let's just watch it.
Yeah.
She looks like she's posing for a photo.
Yeah.
Like my body? I was honored to be on our next performer's new video. And if I ever record an album, I want this guy to produce make me beautiful duets. Because he's freaking genius!
I love how enthusiastic she was in the moment. Like, yes, this is a moment that she got ripped to shreds for.
God.
Publicly humiliated, just absolutely parodied this way, that way, and the other. Any two but actors definitely making a joke about her, like on her. Yeah, like.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty epic.
It is.
It's like, sis, come to Jesus. Like
this is the moment that illustrates why literally everybody, including her own sister, multiple times, simply in the intro to the book, call her a train wreck a lot. Because this is, I think, what we learned. Like, I think this might have been, I don't know when we started using the word train wreck in the way that we use it today, but it seems like it was probably within the same zeitgeist. And I wouldn't be shocked if her public appearances were part of what sparked the etymology of that, novel use.
So the Anna Nicole Smith show was pretty much that clip over and over and over again. Like
Jesus.
that and the Margaret Cho thing. I mean, like it just, anyway.
Yeah.
Her bodyguard and close family friend, Mo, revealed that this was actually an intentional act. And while Anna was definitely high on something, she wasn't nearly as out of control as she presented herself. She understood that she could create buzz and use that as leverage to keep her name in the media. Anna was incredibly self-aware and had learned from the way the media had treated her from the very beginning. What mattered to her was the leverage that she could gain from constant scandal.
This sounds like the other side of the coin in that certain levels of celebrity can buy certain testimonies in the public eye, let's say. Because she's too smart to have scripted that. If she scripted that, she would have done a better job. In 2004, brimming with newfound confidence after losing 69 pounds with Trim Spa, Anna made an appearance at the Kentucky Derby, where she met paparazzi photographer Larry Burkhead. Burkhead, a boyish, slender man with blonde hair, was Anna's physical type. Look at Billy Wayne Smith and other various suitors from her past. They kind of all shared a certain look.
She liked a twink.
She liked a twink.
Which is why I say queer icon. She was super gay. Yeah.
She loved the twinks as much as the gays did.
Yes.
And Anna pursued this gentleman with wild abandon.
Larry, which, if we go in terms of sexy names, is at the bottom of the list. Larry quickly became a fixture in her life, appearing on the reality show in its final season. This created tension with Howard K. Stern, Anna's longtime friend, lawyer, her de facto handler, and the straight man to her absolute chaos. Perhaps he was jealous, insecure, threatened, or just protective of Anna and the media empire he had helped build. And I will say, from having watched the show, that Howard K. Stern was the prototypical kind of what we would now call a simp. Like, it was so obvious that he was in love with her. Like, he just, like, was her step and fetch it, like, did everything for her, but they were just friends. And you saw it in the Christmas clip where they're under the mistletoe and he like licks her face or like tries to kiss her. And she's like, "Oh, Howard." And like, it was very much kind of through that whole relationship that it was like the guy that was hopelessly in love with the woman. And like, she pretended to not know. And he never like declared his love and was just hoping for her to one day turn around and realize he had been there the whole time. It was kind of sad, you know?
It's the male version of I can fix him. I can make her notice like me and love me.
Yeah. One day she's going to turn around and realize I've been there the whole time making everything happen. And we're going to fall madly in love and be together forever. You know?
Yeah.
Like just like, it was kind of sad, you know?
Yeah,
It was like,
is.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Anna was ready to have another child. She felt a strong physical connection to Larry and wanted him to be the genetic father. But unfortunately, according to Burkhead, Anna quickly became insecure and started to accuse him of using her. Perhaps remembering her relationship to J. Howard Marshall, perhaps feeling a tinge of irony or karma, she realized the pitfalls of relationships with such large wealth and status disparities. There were fights, chaos, an unfortunate miscarriage, a reconciliation, another pregnancy, and then finally, for whatever her reasons, Anna ended the relationship. Now we're going to watch a video of her pregnancy announcement.
Hi, it's me, Anna Nicole, as you can see. I've been hearing a lot of gossip in the papers. Is Anna pregnant? She's pregnant. She's pregnant by some guy. Well, let me stop all the rumors. Yes, I am pregnant. I'm happy. I'm very, very happy about it. Everything's going really, really good. And I'll be checking in and out periodically on the web. And I'll let you see me as I'm growing. So that's it at this time.
I love the myriad of dogs in the background narrating. Like, they've got their own drama going on. This is evidence in a case in dog law, I'm sure.
Yes. Anna Nicole Smith announced her pregnancy on June 1st, 2006. It was made through a video clip on her official website. Remember those?
Oh.
Anna then absconded to the Bahamas, where she eloped with Howard K. Stern. So I guess in the end, he got what he wanted. She had now married her second Howard.
You know, starting off for a royal flush or something. The pregnancy was difficult. Anna had chronic medical issues for most of her professional life, consisting of complications from 5 breast augmentation surgeries, as well as chronic back pain and uterine fibromyalgia. This speaks nothing to the anxiety, depression, extreme dieting, and the resulting medications needed to adequately treat the symptoms and including all of their side effects and potentially dangerous interactions. She just had so much on her plate. It was insane. It was really hard to navigate.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Back injuries, just talk to any stripper. Danny Lynn was born healthy via C-section in Nassau, Bahamas on September 7th, 2006, making her a Virgo.
Oh, God bless her heart.
Yes. Little did anyone know the chaotic tragedy that would unfold so soon after.
Daniel Smith, Danny Lynn's older brother, Anna Nicole's first child, had been the center of Anna's life. He was with her through all the ups and downs and came of age on the namesake's reality TV show. Anecdotally, friends and cast members of the show recount that as Daniel came of age, he grew resentful and felt smothered by Anna. And he felt as though most of his life he'd been used as a security blanket, or maybe it was just in the blood, the need to differentiate, the need to resist authority, the need to make his own way, make his own mistakes. Daniel had also started partying and exhibiting the same wildness, experimenting with recreational drug use, perhaps also in an attempt to escape. I will say that in her very earliest days, knowing, as we've already discussed, that she escaped her first marriage with Daniel in tow, largely to protect him, he was the center of her world for a very long time. But I can only imagine that once her world started to become a lot more centered and financially secure, their relationship probably dipped off a little bit. I don't know, but things got tough.
I'm just going to say this as the child of addicts, that no matter how much they love you, an addict in active addiction cannot be a good parent. They just can't. They don't have the emotional resources because all of their emotional resources are going toward one thing, which is getting more drugs. Like, that's it. So with that as the primary directive, it is impossible to be emotionally mature and available in a meaningful way in your child's life, because children need consistency. They need boundaries. Close family friends contacted Daniel, told him of his sister's birth, and pleaded with him to visit his mother to mend things and be a family again. He agreed and traveled to Nassau to visit Anna and Danny Lynn in the hospital.
For some reason, Anna's medical care providers had decided that methadone would be the best medication to manage her pain. This could be a good strategy for several reasons, but primarily it just seemed to work effectively, while also not being as addictive as conventional opiates, as the treatment of opiate addiction having been historically its primary use. Additionally, its abuse can lead to fatal outcomes, and it is especially dangerous when it is taken in conjunction with SSRIs.
Daniel arrived, and from the accounts of those present, it was a happy and tearful reunion. Daniel stayed with his mother in her hospital room, holding his newborn sister and comforting his mother after her difficult birth. However, 4 days after the birth of his sister, he fell asleep in his mother's hospital room and never woke up.
Daniel Smith's autopsy report concluded that his death was caused by an accidental overdose from a combination of 3 drugs: methadone, Zoloft, and Lexapro. The interaction of these drugs led to a lethal cardiac arrhythmia, causing his heart to stop. There was no evidence of foul play or suicidal intent. There were no illegal drugs detected in his system.
The official autopsy report was conducted by Bahamian authorities. However, Anna Nicole Smith's family also commissioned an independent autopsy, which confirmed the findings of the official report. It began the ultimate downward spiral for Anna, her suffering beyond imaginable, further fueling her struggles with substance abuse and mental health issues.
Anna was now at the end. All the medicating and self-soothing could do nothing to console the loss of Daniel. In an attempt to distract herself, she, Howard K. Stern, and her close friends traveled to Hollywood, Florida, to buy a luxury yacht and sail it back to the Bahamas. But at this point, Anna's physical and mental health had deteriorated to a point that she was bedridden, in agonizing pain, and running a temperature of 105 degrees.
I can't imagine trying to recover from a C-section, your son dies, and you have a newborn infant. All at the same time. You know, there's like postpartum depression, there's grieving.
Postpartum psychosis.
That is a lot to be going on at once. Those that were there begged and pleaded that she go to the hospital. But after years of abuse, talking by the media, as well as being beyond emotionally compromised, she didn't have the spiritual strength to be seen in public amongst those who wanted to gawk at her suffering. The attention and fame, once her biggest motivator, had become now an unbearable torment.
On the morning of February 8th, 2007, while in her bed, she was unresponsive to a friend who quickly realized that she was not breathing. Another friend, who was a registered nurse, began CPR for the next 20 minutes until paramedics arrived and performed 2 defibrillations as well as CPR for another 30 minutes. After which she was rushed to the Memorial Regional Hospital, where our girl, Anna Nicole Smith, formerly Vicky Smith, formerly Nikki Hart, formerly Vicky Lynn Hogan of Mahia, Texas, was unfortunately pronounced dead.
The medical examiner's report revealed that Smith had numerous prescription drugs in her system, including chloral hydrate, a sedative used to treat insomnia. This was determined to be the primary cause of death. Benzodiazepines, including Klonopin, Ativan, Xerax, and Valium, were also found in her system. Sounds like a party.
Howard K. Stern, Anna's doctor Sandeep Kapoor, and her close friend and psychiatrist Christine Erashevich were all initially charged with 2 counts related to fraudulently obtaining and providing controlled substances to Anna. The charges against Stern and Kapoor were dropped, and Erashevich's charges reduced to a single misdemeanor.
So, again, soon after Anna's passing, Larry Burkhead filed a petition for paternity, and a court-ordered blood test was taken to determine who Danny Lynn Smith's biological father was. There were 3 people with a claim: Howard K. Stern, her husband, Larry Burkhead, her former partner, and bizarrely, Frederic Prince von Anhalt, husband of Zsa Zsa Gabor, who also claimed paternity.
Such a also ran.
I mean, it's also just, it's so fitting that in Anna's death, that would be a point of contention. It's very on brand.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
also this other random dude. Like, it's just very on brand for her messy brand.
At least it was like Zsa Zsa. He's got the brand,
like it's just fitting. It's just very fitting that like we have to figure out who the daddy is because no one actually.
The case gained widespread media attention due to the potential inheritance at stake. If Danny Lynn was determined to be the heir to Anna Nicole's late husband, J. Howard Marshall, she could potentially inherit a significant fortune.
A DNA test was ordered, and in April 2007, Larry Burkhead was confirmed as Danny Lynn's biological father. He was subsequently awarded sole custody of his daughter.
Poignantly, Howard K. Stern and Burkhead overcame their differences and worked together, with Stern being named executor of Anna's estate and Larry being custodial guardian. And finally, the Supreme Court heard the last challenge to the Marshall inheritance case in 2011 and decided in favor of the family of J. Howard Marshall II. Danny Lynn received nothing, and in my opinion, Danny Lynn deserves the entire world.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I hope she's doing okay, man.
She's apparently doing great. I did a lot of research, and it seems like she's thriving. She's living her best life as best she can, given circumstances, and like she's gorgeous, she's talented, And
that's wonderful. It's tempting to judge Anna Nicole Smith, to scrutinize her choices and question her path. Yet, she lived unapologetically, embracing her desires and defying convention. When faced with adversity, she took action, however unconventional her solutions might seem. She navigated life with the tools she had, imperfect as they may have been.
Yes, she was boisterous, sometimes superficial, often under the influence, and undeniably inappropriate. God, I love this woman.
Yeah.
But beneath the facade, Anna loved fiercely and felt deeply. Her heart overflowed with affection for those whom she cherished, and her laughter filled the rooms that she graced. She strived to create a world of joy and acceptance, a sanctuary where everyone felt welcomed and loved.
Ultimately, the weight of her burdens proved too heavy for her body and spirit to bear. The relentless pursuit of happiness, coupled with the pain of loss, shattered her heart beyond repair. Anna's story is a poignant reminder that even amidst the chaos and contradictions, the human spirit yearns for connection, acceptance, and love.
What a beautiful conclusion to a very tragic life.
Yep. We did it.
We did it. And I want to recognize our incredible producer, Joshua Anderson, who not only edits our episodes to make us sound much smarter than certainly I am. Not you, you're smart as hell. But also, he wrote this incredible script. He wrote the scripts, and I'm so grateful for him for chiming in and like lending a voice to these incredible women, because he fucking gets it the way that we do, and I'm so glad to have him on board. So thanks, Joshy.
Me too. So let's do some housekeeping. We do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/ if you would like to support. We have one tier. It's $5. For now, treat it like a tip jar. It helps us pay just little costs of, hosting the podcast, the endless hours of labor that go into editing the show, researching the show, writing the scripts, all of it. So if you feel like throwing us a $5, we would sure enough appreciate it, but totally understand that in this economy, that can be a big ask.
Yes.
Everything else, show notes, sources will be linked in the show notes, as well as links to the podcast, illreputepodcast.com. That is where you can go to get any updates, to get background bios about us, to merch store, to the YouTube, to all the different places you can listen. So check that out. And script today was by Joshua Anderson. Your hosts were me, Sovereign Syre, and Miss Ela Darling.
Hi.
And this show has been produced by Mr. Joshua Anderson. And with that, we're done.
I bid you severance tits as well as adieu, because they're great. Girl, your tits look so good.
Thank you.